So, let me ask you, how do you guys go about, or you personally, how do you go about deciding what a classic is?
You know what? I mean, that's got to be the most disagreed upon formula in hip hop.
Yeah,
You
man.
know, from a publication standpoint, we vote on it, and that's why we don't give out too many as a publication. We don't vote on every album review. Andre and Euro come up with the ratings for 90% of their album reviews. Whenever something is on the line between a 4, 4.5, or 4.4, or when we're thinking about giving out like a crazy rating, we all come together and figure that out.
And you all listen to the album together or separately?
Separately over a weekend.
Okay.
It usually comes out early.
Okay.
And then we'll make everybody listen to it again. For me, I look at classics as, I think there's a difference between a perfect album and a classic album. Like, I think an album can be perfect, but it didn't have a cultural impact enough to be considered classic. You know, like, I think Pharoah Monch's Desire, to me, is a perfect rap album. Like, the beats on that are just incredible, in my opinion. The things he does from a rhyme scheme standpoint are just never been heard before. There's a 3-part trilogy that you got to listen to backwards to understand forwards. It's awesome, right? But it didn't have the cultural impact that College Dropout did, you know. And I think a classic album doesn't have to be a perfect album. I think there could be some tracks on a classic album that just aren't, you know, that are less than, and they keep it from being perfect, but that cultural impact still makes it a classic album.
But do you think that there needs to be, like you said, there should be some, there could be a couple, but is there a kind of a middle ground between a perfect and classic album where it's like a certain level that an album has to reach? Like while an album doesn't have to be perfect, it can't be half of the album is like skippable, or is that or is that?
I mean, if you don't like half the songs, that's already a problem.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, if someone came up to me and told me Rick Ross's Teflon Don is a classic album,
Yeah.
I wouldn't agree, but I'd understand. It's his most concise project. Unless you don't want to hear that same beat twice, it's pretty fluid. He's got range of emotion on there. If you like Ross, might be the best he ever did it. Either that or the mixtape that came out.
Yeah. Woo.
You know,
Rich Forever. Fire.
You know, the Rich Forever mixtape was nuts. So I don't think it could be a classic if there's like, you know, like 50% of it's horrible. Like, I'm talking, if you have 10 tracks and 9 of them are awesome, you know, that's a really great ratio. If you have 12 tracks and 8 of them are awesome, now we're kind of at 75%. Like, that's not really that good in middle school. You know what I mean? So, like, how great is it from an album standpoint? But for me, the big difference between a classic album and a perfect album is that the classic album changes the culture.
Okay.
People start doing things differently. People become so inspired or so maneuvered by this that they tend to maneuver further in that direction in a number of different ways.